everybody, singer from Napalm Death, and happily I'm speaking to you from Tokyo in the interview with Mel Sheep. To be honest with you, some bands who have a long history you would expect to have very drastic changes, but Napalm's really not that different to what it was in the first place. I mean, originally it was kind of a punk band, but it was also other things as well. It had different influences from outside of punk and metal, like some more ambient kind of influences. So yeah, it started off as part of the crass sort of scene, if you like, and also there was a recording on Crass Records on a compilation of the Bullshit Detector compilations. So that's it was very much a punk band, you know, if you want to call it that. But so, I mean, moving forward, yes, there was some lineup changes. Yes, the music kind of shifted here and there, but it wasn't as drastic as people make out. I think that it's still quite close to those early days, musically, in my opinion, you know. So I entered only really liking to a very serious degree one band, and that was Motorhead. Motorhead was my favourite band above and beyond anything, and everything else was kind of secondary, you know, because a lot of people kind of liked lots of different bands, like really on the same level of appreciation. But for me, Motorhead was more important than anything. You know, Iron Maiden, I kind of liked, but I prefer the first two albums, you know, and after that really I wasn't as interested. Saxon and all the other bands, yeah, I kind of liked them, but I was always looking for the heaviest and the most extreme, and I think Motorhead satisfied that. They ticked every box for me, like, so everything else almost became a little bit secondary, you know, until the thrash and the punk thing kind of happened. That's when I started to get a more, you know, wider appreciation, because I think bands like GBH and The Exploited, The Discharge were huge for me, you know, as was Metallica and Slayer when they came out, you know, those bands. So yeah, once it was only really once a certain extremity was reached that I started to have a really wider appreciation. Purely by accident. I never had any ambitions to be a musician, and I still don't. And it's arguable whether I am actually a musician, you know. But you know, I was an engineer previously in the car industry, because car industry in Birmingham is huge, you know. It was, you know, one of the, and has kind of become bigger again in recent times, you know. But it was a car industry in Birmingham. I was an engineer for a small factory that was producing parts for Land Rover and Jaguar cars, you know. And then, but at the time I was also heavily into like Napalm and a lot of the hardcore punk music that was around at the time, and I was quite close to the band. And then I also had a band, Benediction, which was kind of serious, but not, you know, it was only, I was working at the same time. But when Napalm came along, it was kind of my favourite band, and to be asked to join them, knowing that I could do what I needed to do, well, I mean, I can't tell you how excited I was, you know. So I had to make a very real choice. It was either continue my apprenticeship or take a risk, join the band. and I took the risk and joined the band, and the rest is history. Within days of learning that Napalm wanted me to be, because I had no option, because the band was going to New York to play CBGB's within a couple of weeks of me joining. So obviously there was no way that my job was going to accept me going away. It was a full-time job, you know, so I had to make a decision, and I made the decision. And
when was it?
1989, 88, 89.
Wow. So you quit your job just at the beginning of your...
Yeah, and took a risk, massive risk, you know. I mean, my apprenticeship was a proper qualification, you know, for life, and I quit. But I think I probably made the right decision, because the industry that I was working in Birmingham for many years died, you know. The industrial side of Birmingham really went with Margaret Thatcher, you know, and all that stuff killed a lot of the industry, so... You couldn't with Napalm. Napalm is happening every day of the week. There's no way I could. I mean, yes, I do other things, but it's not like 9 to 5 jobs. I do some voluntary work, you know, which doesn't have to be. It can be. I wouldn't deny that, but you know what? I do understand also that I'm in a position that probably 99% of people would like to be in. They travel the world, you know, with a band, see all these places. You know, the Napalm's very positive in terms of what it projects, you know, and to be able to have the choice to be able to do that of your own free will, I mean, it's great, obviously, you know. I don't. Mitch, the guitarist, does. Shane's married. Mitch has a guitarist and he's married and has kids. Shane is married. I'm not married. I mean, I have girlfriends and stuff, but it's like miles away anyway from where I live. So, and then Danny's single. So yeah, for me, I know it can be difficult for Mitch sometimes, and I understand, you know. But, you know, we as a collective have a certain duty to Napalm that we feel, you know, it's not a duty that's enforced upon us, it's the choice that we make, you know. So, if we're going to do it, then we have to do it. If we're not going to do it, then we don't do it. There's no halfway. I live the other side of town from the guys. That we all live separately now. Before there was a band house, I never lived there, but the other guys did. I couldn't do it. The amount of time I spend with them, it's only natural that people need their space, you know. So, but I'm working on Napalm all the time, day to day. I do like the finances of the band and stuff. I look after that stuff. That's a lot of stuff to do, you know. So I'm constantly occupied by what Napalm is. Not just playing live or making the music, you know. Well, obviously I wasn't part of the original band, so it's hard for me to answer that. But no music is ever 100% original, no matter what people might tell you. Everything comes from somewhere. So Napalm is just kind of an amalgamation of those early punk influences, some metal, and also some like fringe influences like ambient music, you know, and stuff. So it was a consolidation of those, but Napalm had a special something that you can't always put into words. It was just a special feeling to it, you know. When I wasn't in the band, when I saw the band play in the very early days, as soon as I saw them, I was like, this band has something special, you know, that other bands don't necessarily have. So, you know, when you've got that, it's a little easier to move forward, you know. Yes and no, really. I mean, I've always, you know, that's been discussed quite a lot in recent times. I'm a little reluctant to kind of over-romanticise the whole thing, really. People, I mean, a lot in interviews it gets asked, there must be something in the water or some factors. But to be honest, Birmingham is like many other towns. It was heavily industrialised. It's had a lot of poverty and, deprivation, relatively speaking. But it's like many other towns. Things just happen in Birmingham. I don't think there's any real magic formula. It's just coincidence.